Hey, what's up guys, it's Loudnaz. In my last video, I showcased the Strand Warlock build that is amazing for Onslaught because of his added control, keeping enemies frozen, preventing them from advancing to the ADU. But in today's video, I think I found a build that I won't be taking off when it comes to the Onslaught mode. This Strand build allowed me to easily complete 50 waves with 800 plus kills, and I strongly believe that this build will help you do the same. From the weapons to the fragments to the armor mods that make this build perfect for this activity, killing stronger enemies and controlling choke points will be so much easier. Okay, enough of me yapping, let's get into the build. To start, we'll talk about the aspects and fragments. First off, I'm using the Threadling Grenade, which will synergize with the exotic that we will pair with this build. The first aspect is Weave Walk, which enters you in the weave when you dodge while airborne and generates purged Threadlings every half a second. While in this weave state, it grants you a 90% damage resist, so you're basically unkillable. However, it will drain 25% melee energy every second. So while you're playing, it is very important that you make sure you have at least one melee charge to use this aspect to get you out of sticky situations like this. The next aspect is Weaver's Call, which will deploy 3 Threadlings and any Threadling you have purged when you cast a Rift. This will synergize great with Weave Walk since it will generate purged Threadlings. As for fragments, I'm using Thread of Evolution to improve the speed and damage of Threadlings by 33% to mini bosses. Thread of Generation grants grenade energy when dealing damage, which varies depending on the source and the amount of damage something deals. So, the more damage something deals, the more ability energy it will grant. And the last fragment is Thread of Warding, which will grant Woven Mail for 10 seconds after picking up an Orb of Power. Now you may be wondering, or you're not, why I'm not running Thread of Rebirth, which gives Strand weapons a chance to create a Threadling after a kill. Well, that's because I'm using the Final Warning, which is a crucial weapon for the Strand build. This Strand sidearm is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, primary weapon in the game when it comes to DPS. If you're not familiar with this weapon, hipfire in this weapon has crazy tracking and increased body shot damage, and aiming increases velocity and deals extra crit damage to marked targets. In this clip, you can see that it only takes 2 megs of Final Warning to kill Carl, whereas 6 GL shots will leave him with a sliver of health left. One uses primary ammo and the other uses heavy, which just goes to show how well Final Warning is against stronger enemies. As far as how to use this weapon for DPS, it is important to charge a full burst and make sure to tap fire the last 10 shots to maximize your DPS, because if you didn't know, the damage perk lingers on this weapon. Because this weapon unravels enemies on a full burst, you can pair this with the seasonal artifact mod called Horde Shuttle. This artifact mod spawns Threadlings when damaging unraveled targets with the weapon, ultimately freeing up your fragment slot for Thread of Warding instead of Rebirth. And of course, you have the artifact mod Unraveling Orbs to grant your weapon unraveling rounds after picking up an Orb of Power for even better ad clear. And this will all tie in perfectly with the exotic armor for this build, the Swarmers. This exotic will spawn 2 Threadlings upon destroying a tangle, and your Threadlings will unravel targets that they damage, which then will allow you to do more damage to the unraveled target. So when playing Onslaught with this build, you can basically use Final Warning the entire time to clear ads, spawning Threadlings and spreading Unravel to targets and still being able to destroy stronger enemies since the weapon is so strong. For your energy weapon, you can really use whatever weapon you're comfortable with because you probably won't be utilizing it that often with this build. As for your heavy weapon, I highly suggest a GL with a damage perk like Explosive Light or Bait and Switch to quickly kill many bosses and demolitionists that spawn. As for my mods, I will scroll through them and you can just copy them. I also recommend focusing on a stat distribution between Discipline and Resilience to optimize this build. I will be leaving a dim link to the build in the description so you guys can just copy everything. Let me know in the comments what you think about this build and if you will be trying this out. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you want to see more Destiny 2 content.